Hi, I'm Caitlin Barton, and I'm a student in EDM 310 at the University of South Alabama. Today, I'm interviewing Mrs. Alice Barton. She is a fifth grade math and reading teacher at Centerville Middle School in Centerville, Alabama. Today, I would like to talk to you about how you integrate technology into your classroom and your thoughts on project based learning and how you have used it. So, first, what kind of technology do you use in your classroom on a daily or weekly basis?
In my classroom, I do a good bit of whole group lessons using technology. I do have a projector in my classroom, and all of my students are in groups in my reading class and my math class. I have four students in each group, and I usually have 8 to 9 groups in my classes. So they are already in a group, they know who they're with, who they're going to be working with. In our reading class, we will actually pull up different lessons from the internet that go with our book, Storytown. If we're using a story with our reading series, sometimes we use novels. In our reading classes, in math, I will pull up lessons that go along with whatever I'm going to be teaching that day or that week. The students seem to enjoy more the video or animated lessons that I can pull from different places on the internet. I do this through sharing with other teachers from other schools. I also can look it up on YouTube, and I can get certain lessons off of YouTube. I try to find something to make sure that I watch these lessons before I present them to my kids. So it is on their level, since it is fifth grade, because sometimes it is a little higher than what level they are on. I try to also, like I said, I share with other schools and other teachers from different counties, but I also share with teachers that are in my county. If they've already presented a lesson, or if I have, we kind of share things that we've used that have worked with our classes. I might share a PowerPoint or a lesson that I have found. Also, the kids are able to go up and, by using the projector and our technology in our classroom, they are able to also do work or put in answers that go along with these animated lessons. But those are some of the things that we do that I use in the classroom. Usually it is a whole group lesson in our classroom.
Okay, next I would like to find out if and how you use project based learning in your classroom or about your most recent project based lesson plan.
My most recent project-based lesson plan was a lesson that I did in my reading class, and we just finished a novel in our reading class, How to Eat Fried Worms. And we started out, I started it with just kind of talking about whether the students had ever been dared to do something before, if, they had ever bet someone, to do something that they couldn't do it, or they wouldn't do it, or they dared someone, or they had ever accepted a dare from someone else, and had lots of different things that the kids had done. And little did they know that we were going to be talking about eating worms or eating earthworms. So that's kind of how we started out, just by discussing that and daring people to do things, and what's good to be, a good dare and maybe a bad dare, things that you wouldn't want to do. But as we started out, I introduced the novel to them, and I did show them some things that were a project that we were going to be working on. I did get this from the internet. The vocabulary came from the internet, the lessons, the activities, everything. We also did a study on earthworms, and I was not very familiar with using iCurio, but we did use it for this project-based lesson. and we did research earthworms and learned a lot about earthworms. They talked about that, the differences in kinds of worms and earthworms. Most of my students, the only time they, had actually seen an earthworm was to use it to fish with or for bait. And so we talked about that, where we might find earthworms, because in the story, actually, the boys are talking about where they can find the earthworms for the little boy, Billy, to have to eat
Hey,
the earthworm.
okay, you're gonna have to cut it off soon. I'm gonna cut that like where you started talking about the little kids, because I only have 30 seconds left. So, okay, go.
So we learned about those things. We did use the iCurio. They were then asked, when we finished reading the novel, they had to write their own recipes, which also went into our language standard. But they had to write a recipe. They had to tell how they were going to cook their recipe, giving steps, using transition words, first, next, after. They had to list their ingredients, and then they also had to draw what their recipe would look like.
Okay, well, thank you for talking with me today.